So, in our chapter on right to equality, I have already discussed on various aspects of Article 14, 15, 16. Now, the issue of reservations, the constitutional amendments, and now I would like to talk about the latest amendment, that is the 103rd Amendment Act. 103rd Amendment Act, which brought in the reservation for economically weaker classes or economically weaker sections. Economically weaker sections. So, let me just discuss about that. What are the issues? The final word is yet to be heard, because Supreme Court is yet to give a final verdict on this, but it may take some time. But this is the 103rd Amendment Act, which was passed in 2018, and economic reservation. Okay, and this is in January 2018. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha passed in a hurry. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha passed it in a hurry. Most of the members supported, because anything about reservation you cannot oppose in India because of the vote bank politics. So, no opposition, nothing, everybody supported. It provides reservation of jobs in central government as well as in education institute, both. So, it inserted Article 15(6) and Article 16(6). It inserted one in Article 15, which is providing reservation in educational institution, and 16(6) is providing in employment, in public employment. Both have been added. So, it is also applicable for admission in private educational institutions. It is also applicable for admission in private education institutions, and it is for, basically this is applicable only to those people who are economically weaker, who are not being counted under 15(4) or 16(4), or ultimately the bottom line is it is only for, and that is sad part of it, only for economically weaker sections from the upper caste. See, now I would like to say only one thing. The problems faced by the the people who belong to the lower caste, who belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, those who have been discriminated, those who are not being treated as human beings properly, their problems are totally different. But what are we trying to do? We are mixing our economic problem. We are mixing our economic problem with the social problem. You are not being treated as a human being in the first place when it comes to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, etc. They are maltreated. They are not treated properly. Human rights are not protected. They are not even treated as a human being. So, the whole reservation, the equality issue of 15 and 16, Article 15 and 16 is about how to bring in that social equality, how to ensure that you are treated equally as another human being. But in this, we brought in this economic problem, economic weaker section of the upper caste, who are never faced any social discrimination. Those people who never faced any social discrimination are brought at par with those who have faced social discrimination. No comparison whatsoever. If at all we want to support the economically weaker sections of the country, there should be a separate program. It cannot be mixed in Article 15 and 16. But unfortunately, that is how our country, our politics is. Everything is mixed up now. It's a complete quagmire. It is a complete disaster, let me put it this way. And in the process, we have brought 10% reservation of the total seats have been reserved for the economically weaker sections of upper caste. So, the argument for foot forward is these economically weaker section are generally excluded from any reservation or any affirmative action. Even Article 46, the argument is Article 46 talks about weaker section. So, the government's argument is this weaker section include the economically weaker sections of upper caste. This is a highly debatable issue. Should we see what is the meaning? If you look at the essence of the constitution, if you look at the essence of the directive principle of state policy, the way it has been introduced, the way the debates took place in the Constituent Assembly, the economic issue, economically weaker section, yes, I know, I agree that those who are economically not in a good position, they face a lot of trouble. I fully agree. But they never faced this question of existence as a human being. They are never discriminated. They are never pushed to the corner only because you did not have money. But now we are saying economically weaker section of upper caste are at par with the socially and economic, those who are treated as untouchables, those who are not given any respect as a human being throughout the history. We are trying to help them, uplift them, we have to bring them at par with others. We are trying to bring in equality in them, and we are comparing them with economically weaker sections of upper caste. Quite unfortunately, that is why the whole problem is there. So, Article 15(6), the 106th Amendment, 103rd Amendment Act, Article 15(6) says that reservation for economically weaker section in admission in educational institutions, either government or private, okay, or other than minority education institution, up to 10% seats. For economically weaker section who doesn't get any benefit under Article 15(4). So, we are very clearly saying those people who are excluded in 15(4), those who are not getting any reservation or benefit in 15(4) are eligible. Who are those who are not getting 15(4)? Those who are other than OBC, SC and ST. So, 15(4) benefits are for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBC. Those who are not having this benefit are given this 10% reservation in government institutions, 10% reservation in education institution, whether it is government or private, okay, both government and private institution, that is Article 15(6), except in minority education institution, I already said. Similarly, Article 16(6), in public employment, it is said that in 16(6), it was said that in public employment, the same logic we have put forward, 10% reservation will be given to economically weaker section among the forward caste who are not otherwise eligible for any other reservation. So, that is how it has been introduced. Now, a couple of analysis I would like to add here. It is very important, your opinion is very important, we have introduced this, and the reason we are saying that Article 46, the logic we said is Article 46 talked about weaker section. So, this economically weaker section come under Article 46 weaker section, but the truth of the matter is that weaker section is not for the economically weaker. We are talking about the socially and educationally backward classes, unfortunately, but we added it here as part of Article 46. It's okay. Now, in this bill, a very interesting point they said is who are economically weaker. Now, to identify the economically backward class, economically backward sections among the forward caste or among the upper caste. So, according to the government, according to the parliament, all those who are income below 8 lakh, number one, below 8 lakh rupees, annual income, rupees annual income. All those who have income less than 8 lakh rupees annual income, agricultural land less than 5 hectares, agricultural land less than 5 hectares, not acre, hectare. 1 hectare is 2.54 acres. That means 12.5, more than 12 point, almost 13 acres of land. Anyone who is having less than 5 hectares of land is an economically backward. Residential house smaller than 1000 square feet. If it is a house less than 1000 square feet, and if it is in a village, it is a residential plot. If you are talking about a plot, it should be in a city condition, a plot, residential plot of 109 square yards. And if it is in village, the plot is less than 209 square yard. If it is not in a class 1 city, village or outside the city, 209 square yard. So, see, now what is the aim? To help the economically weaker. Now, you please tell me, if a farmer is owning 5 hectares of land, and do you consider that farmer as a poor person or a middle class, or maybe an upper middle class? See, if at all we were genuine about helping the people, economically weaker, first of all, we should have been creating a new class called whoever is economically weak. See, you should have created an economically weak class, irrespective of your caste. The forward caste, the upper caste, the general category, the OBC, scheduled caste, whoever is economically weak should have come under that class, number one. Number two, by keeping 8 lakh rupee per annum per year income in a family, 90%, 95% of all Indians will come under that category. See, how many people in our country are having more than 8 lakh income per year, which is again, especially agricultural income and all, it is not been accounted. There is no income tax for them. 8 lakh rupees, very high, first of all. Number two, 5 hectares of land, it is very high. See, if you are genuinely interested, we should have said that all those who have less than maybe 1 hectare of land, income may be 3 or 4 lakh, not more than that. So, these amounts which are kept is very high. In the process, you are including almost everybody in the reserved list. So, now with this definition, what I have understood is, see, already 50% reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC. Now, this 10% reservation, with this, at least 95% of the Indian society, I will say at least 95% of the Indian society are eligible for reservation now. %of the Indian society are eligible for reservation right now. So, the very purpose is defeated. Reservation, the idea is to give those who are needy, those who want some help. So, if you are genuinely interested in giving reservation to economically weaker, it should have been to the real poor people of this country, the migrant laborers who have nothing, the people whose income is very, very less. We should have been supporting them, but instead we added almost everybody, even the rich people in our country have been added. So, the benefits, the bottom line I am making is, the benefits will be cornered by a few rich people once again. The benefits, the end result of this kind of a broad classification where almost everybody comes under the list, the end result is the rich or a few will corner the benefit. This is not going to help anybody. A few will corner the benefit. So, the idea of reservations were introduced to ensure adequate, and again, why reservation in India? Reservations were introduced to provide representation or to bring in representation of the marginalized people in governance or in government. See, when reservations introduced in 1950s, we knew that scheduled castes and scheduled tribes are never represented. We want to bring them, see, in a democracy we need all sections of the people should be represented in government. OBC reservation again to bring in representation to the marginalized section, those who are not adequately represented. But in the economically weaker section, they are already represented, they are the upper caste, they are already represented. We are giving representation or reservation to the already over-represented community. And reservations, the aim of reservation is not alleviation of poverty. Poverty alleviation is not the aim of reservation. But we are bringing poverty alleviation into this category. Mere poverty is not a test of backwardness. Indira Swani case. Indira Swani case, Supreme Court declared that mere poverty or poverty is not the sole test of backwardness. Poverty is not the sole test of backwardness. Poverty cannot be the sole test of backwardness. Social backwardness, see, it has to be educationally and socially backward. But now we are economic backwardness are brought in, and the sole test of backwardness is economy now, which was rejected by the Indira Swani case judgment. So, that is why even in the JAT reservation and all, Supreme Court rejected the reservation for JATs by saying that they are not socially backward community. They are the dominant caste of their respective region. That is why it was even rejected. So, even in the Mandal Commission and the Indira Swani judgment, as I told you, when the economic backwardness or economic backward class reservation was introduced, it was rejected. It was rejected by the Supreme Court at that time. Now we have brought it once again, and it is quite unfortunate. Okay, it is quite unfortunate that we have even added such people. 8 lakh rupee income is so high, and it has defeated the very purpose of reservation in the process also. And then another issue which I would like to say is that the general category, in many states, the percentage of people are very less. See, now we are saying in many states are very less. See, for example, in Tamil Nadu, for example, 69% reservation, 69% are either scheduled caste, scheduled tribe or OBC. So, what is left is only 31%. Now, we are saying 10% reservation for economically weaker among the forward or the upper caste. That means this is something, immediately now we are giving a special privilege for the upper caste now. This 10% reservation is, suppose in a particular state, there are only 20% general category. Imagine for a second, there are only suppose 20% general category. Now what are we saying? 10% of the seats are reserved for this 20% people. So it is something like reverse reservation. You are so it is something like reverse reservation. You are protecting a minority community, and that too those who are educationally well off, they are socially well off, they dominate the society, and these people are given reservation now, and which can be doing injustice to the rest of the community. See, that is what I am saying. If at all we wanted economic class, economically weaker class, including scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, general caste, all those who are economically weak should have been, see, had the government said all those income less than 3 lakh rupees per annum is eligible, yes, that would have been better, or all those who own less than 1 or 2 hectares of land, yes, then we could have considered. But now we are identifying a particular group and then from them we are saying these are the people who are eligible for this. I think that is against all norms. It is against the basic structure of the constitution. In fact, this is the end of social justice. Now, my biggest concern is this economic reservation has literally, or rather this is the end of the debate or discussion on social justice. See, we are now, quite unfortunately, the upper caste, the people who enjoyed all benefits in our society, the people who controlled everything, they are complaining about the some basic minimum help we are giving to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBCs. We are complaining unnecessarily, not even considering how much benefit the general category or the upper caste have taken before. So now this kind of cribbing and complaining, and in the process they are even derailing the very concept of social justice in India and equality before law. If all are equal, see, the socially and educationally these communities are not equal. Equality before law cannot be applied among them. So we should bring them socially equal through all means. Then only we can bring in that the very concept, the democracy's meaning will come only if society is equal. That is why we brought in this concept of reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC. But today we are confusing it with the economic backwardness or economic poverty. See, if I am not socially and educationally backward, if I belong to a higher caste, an upper caste, if I have problem of money, a loan also will help me. Some money, some economic benefit, one time direct benefit transfer to me will solve my economic problem. But social problem, the people who are struggling, those who are being treated as, not even treated as human beings, their problems are totally different. Article 15 and 16, the reservations which were there till now were to help those people to come out of their social backwardness and social injustice. Now we have brought that economic angle which is not comparable with the social injustice to the community. So my final conclusion in this discussion is, constitutionally it is highly unlikely that Supreme Court will accept it, but I don't know, but these days Supreme Court also are giving such verdicts, so we don't know much about that. But ideally if you look what was envisaged in the constitution and what was mentioned in Article 15 and 16, that the problem of social inequality and social injustice, social and educational backwardness, that is what we wanted to rectify through this reservation and all. But now we brought economic reservation into it, which was rejected by the Indira Swani case before. Now we don't know what will be the Supreme Court judgment. So it is every likelihood that Supreme Court can say that this is against the basic structure of the constitution. So we don't know, but Supreme Court is free to change its view and say something else. Ideally, Supreme Court should say this 10% reservation, and that too only for economically backward section among the general category, should be declared unconstitutional. That is what I personally feel, and if that comes, then my understanding of the constitution is correct. Otherwise, I will have to reframe my understanding of my constitution also. Let us wait and watch how the judgment will come. So till then, the provision is 10% reservation for economically backward among the forward caste. The reservation percentage has gone from 50%, 49.5% to 59.5%. So we have crossed the 50% mark in the central list also, and which seems to be a violation of the Indira Swani judgment. So that's all.